What's up, traders? Happy Friday. I'm back. I'm going to talk a little bit about why I've been gone last couple of weeks off and on, but we'll get into that in just a second. Got to talk about Bitcoin. That's been on everyone's mind for the last couple days, I guess this last week, basically, because we're up at this top of this range. Is this going to be the breakout that all the faithful Maxis have been waiting for? We'll talk about that in just a second. I want to share Peter Brandt's ideas. He's a trader that I've been watching for many, many years. He's in all those Market Wizards books that you can find out about. And basically everything's been going up. And so we're going to talk about all the stuff in just a minute. We'll play some music and let people filter in. But hang out. If you're catching this live, just skip ahead. I'll be right back. All right, welcome to the stream, guys. Thanks for spending this time with me on Friday. Hope you had a good week. So, I do this every Friday. Well, I would say I do this every Friday, every other Friday the past couple of weeks. I just want to kind of give a little bit of an excuse there. My mother has not been doing too well. She's unfortunately suffering from early onset Alzheimer's, and yeah, it's pretty bad. She can't really remember conversations going on longer than 30 minutes. And so my sisters and I, fortunately, I have two great sisters, and they've been really chipping in. And we basically kind of have a rolling pattern of going and making sure that everything's safe for her at her house and that she has food and she's fed because she's been forgetting to eat. So that is why I've had to miss a couple of Fridays because the day is either falling on me or we have some kind of little criticality, unfortunately. But we're handling it. But yeah, life takes precedent over money and trading. I'm very fortunate that through trading and investing, I have the free time to take care of my mother. And so, yeah, and that's what I want to help you guys And that's why I do these things for idea generation, but also to share what I know. A good friend of mine, he gave me a compliment. He said I'm like an old uncle that is concerned about wealth preservation. Tells people to slow their roll when they get a little too excited about things. Yeah, because ultimately what you're trying to do is build wealth, grow it. Yeah, maybe you can get there with some YOLO stuff over some time, but primarily you want to we want to keep what we have, because we never know when something's going to be gone. So, little thing to start. Not to start on a downer, but I just kind of wanted to speak to that. That's why I missed a couple of live streams these past couple of weeks. But today I got a lot of requests. There's a lot of stuff going up. Of course, the main thing to talk about is, of course, Bitcoin. And I've been a fan of this trader, Peter Brandt. He was interviewed in some of the old Market Wizards books. When people ask me, what books would you recommend for trading? And the Market Wizards series is a very, very good series by Jack Schwager. And he was interviewed, Peter Brandt was interviewed a long time ago. And he's more of your kind of classical chart pattern studier. Me, I don't really look at chart patterns. So, it's been pretty obvious to people that Bitcoin is doing sort of like an inverted wedge or an inverted triangle, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what it means. I mean, his explanation was that an inverted expanding triangle has about a 50% chance of working all the way to the measured target. It doesn't really have a chart on here. I'm not really sure what that means. But if we just look at it as sort of a what is it? Not self-referential, but self-fulfilling prophecy that this wedge, let's do the weekly here, take off Ichimoku to be simple. If this wedge is going to be the defining characteristic about the price action of Bitcoin, we basically today hit the top. Now, one reason I don't like wedge patterns. Now, if you guys have followed me, you know that the thing that I focus on the most are 50% retracements, volume profile levels, and a little bit of Ichimoku. And we had that 50% at 49,336 from a couple of weeks ago, a few months ago, actually, back in August. That was basically an excellent support for Bitcoin. And that is what it's risen off. And so that's why I try to focus on those kind of things. Let me give a little note about technical analysis and chart patterns. I think a lot of people come to technical analysis looking for the prediction of the future, as if the joke is that technical analysis is astrology for men, and it's kind of true. A lot of people approach it that way, and so people look at this and they look at, oh, this is a bearish signal, oh, this is a bullish signal, and I don't really see things that way. I look at things from the perspective of opportunity. I think the technical analysis is best used to find opportunity. And one of the comments on my Discord this week was, there haven't been very many setups with futures or just anything. I mean, everything's just been going up, and that's true. I thrive myself on pullbacks. I like it when we've established a high and then price is pulling back. You have a very well established trend. You can jump in on it, or you have the potential for a reversal, a contrarian play. And when things are just going up, in the short term, of course, Bitcoin has been going up, but we'll talk about this a little more definitely, because that's the headline. But the stock market was the S&P 500 futures. It's just been going up slowly. This has now become a nice, healthy bullish trend. A couple of months ago, or in August, I noticed where this little pullback right here, when price got too far away from the red line, which is the Ichimoku Tenkan-sen, you knew pullback was going to happen because it was getting way too far extended. Did that come down and hit the 50% there from that low to that high? Yes, it did. You see how powerful that's one of the reasons I love 50% for opportunities. And these things don't happen except every once in a while. And so it's become, you got to be really patient for these things. And in moments like this, people will send me messages. They'll be like, what do I buy? What do I do? I was like, well, I don't really see anything right now. I mean, you can go throw your money at things and maybe they'll go up, but being patient, waiting for, key opportunity, those things only happen maybe every once in a couple of weeks, maybe every couple of months. And right now, you've just got a very well-sustained breakout on the stock market. It's just going to keep on going up. Same thing going on with gold. I mean, gold is kind of slipping under everyone's radar, I suppose. There are some gold bugs that hop in the chat right here, and I tried to place maybe a high, look for a pullback there, because I noted that there's possible that we had a top out here back in September. This is a few live streams ago, and I was maybe looking for a nice pullback to the 2,500 level. We're not getting it. It's just going up. Last live stream I did 2 weeks ago talked about Monero, and Monero had this horrible thing that happened, which I don't really know if that's the cause or not, but Kraken delisted it because Monero is too private, working as intended in the Eurozone, and that was about 140. And I've been saying for as long as I can remember talking about Monero that 140 is the fair value, has been for like the last 2 or 3 years for Monero. And I kind of look at Monero like the Bitcoin Maxis do. I just kind of hodl it, because it's private wealth essentially. And so off that 140, it came down to about 136, but in the last 2 weeks, it's up from that 140 to here, about 14%. By comparison, Bitcoin, let's see, last 2 weeks, what was it? I'm just going to compare it. The Wednesday, October the 2nd, I wonder if Bitcoin's up more. October the 2nd, there we go. Bitcoin is up about the same, about 13%. And yeah, so that brings us back to Bitcoin. But by the way, if you guys have symbols to look at, I've already got a list that is in the chat. So thank you guys for interacting. And by the way, make sure that you guys do like a like and all that kind of stuff for the algorithm. They really appreciate it. Hey, Evolve. As I was saying at the very beginning, I don't try to stream every 2 weeks. I've just had some family obligations that have fallen on Fridays, taking care of a sick mother. But I'll try to make sure that I'm getting with you guys every Friday that I can. I've made it a point to my sisters that Friday needs to be my day that I can have. That's kind of my dead day for going. But sometimes things happen. Life happens, guys. But yeah, let's see. Make sure you get the things in the chat. I've already got a list, and we'll look at that in the second half. But when Silmaril, is that of the Silmarillion, said earlier in chat, I'm late to the breakout. Where have I been? I feel like everyone that's watching Bitcoin a little too closely thinks that every little move up is a breakout. But really, what we've got going on right here is a consolidation. And if you really zoom out, what I need for a breakout is something like this. Like if you go back to the, time in the before times, a breakout to me would look something like this. And this is what it looked like in the 2021 breakout. You really want a good, solid weekly bar that closes above that prior all-time high. That is your sign for breakout. Now, a lot of people are too worried about being too late, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, remember, Michael Saylor says that, Bitcoin is going to go to 11, 13 million. So if you get it at 72 or 75, what does it matter? So we'll see. Now, I've been very bearish on Bitcoin. I actually still am. I'm talking my book here. It may be when we clear this prior all-time high, let's call it 74K, that I have to close my shorts. Because at that point, it could go up. It could go up a lot. I don't want to find myself on the wrong side of it. But for right now, it's really hitting at the cusp. And today, actually, this move up brought it to not only the edge of this wedge that we can see, but it also brought it up to the past all-time high, the 68,997. Did we actually hit it? Not quite. We not quite hit it right there. I mean, it could be a little difference depending on what exchange. This is the index. This is what TradingView draws up for us. But it's very interesting that we hit the top of that wedge. I'm not a fan of wedges. Like I said, I like 50% retracements. I like volume profile levels. The reason I don't like wedges is because everybody can draw them wherever they want to paint any picture. Like, does the wedge begin here? Well, kind of breached it there. Does the wedge begin at this final one? Well, then it's already broken it. See, you can kind of fudge it however you want to paint the picture that you want to. I want something that's nice and well defined. That's me personally. If we do a volume profile analysis of this, where I really see the volume, basically the level to beat, the level to break, is going to be, we'll take a look at the whole range here. So the last level of, let's call it volume resistance, is going to be right about here, which is, similar to that level, 69. So if we get a good, solid, let's say even daily close above 70, then there's a very good chance that this wedge is going to get broken. Will it happen this weekend? I don't know, but we'll see. I think all eyes are on it. Everybody's been waiting for months and months for this thing to actually break higher. We shall see. We shall see. Stone Pilot, what's up, man? Thank you, Stone Pilot. Oh, and you, yeah. It's the. This is talking about my mother. Thank you guys for your words, but um, it's so weird because, like, if you go to the doctor and someone you love gets diagnosed with, I don't know, they have a heart attack or a stroke, or cancer, like it's horrible, but they at least have like a plan, like here's the treatments and all that kind of stuff. But Alzheimer's, they gave us a brochure and wished us luck, because there's so little that's known about the brain. But yeah, it's something that you just kind of manage as it goes along. So I believe 50% retracements are more effective in log scale for crypto due to its high volatility. So logarithmic is not something that I trade off of, but I have some points about logarithmic. I want, when I approach trading, when I approach opportunities, I want to, because I'm so opportunity focused, because I'm not trying to just look at a chart and predict it. I want to look for opportunities that are repeatable. I want to look for patterns that happen again and again. And just off the top of my head, there's been several opportunities. Like, for instance, you had Coca-Cola. This is one that we picked up back in October. I think TFC was a more recent one that happened. Let's see. Yeah, this is a 50%, but also there's one right here. I mean, there's ample opportunities of 50% that happen. And so if I just focus on crypto, I'm more of a stock person now. I mean, you guys are probably way more versed in all the different altcoins and meme coins and stuff like that. But when it comes to crypto, the only thing I focus on is Bitcoin, Monero, and Ethereum, really. And so of course those, you can use logarithmic stuff too, but you're just going to find so many more examples just using a standard chart with 50%. And that's what I want. I want to generate more opportunity. A lot of people that watch this, watch my live streams, they come on and they give me some great opportunities, things that are really, really juicy. And I really appreciate it when people come and share those things. Let me pop out my chat right here so I can read what you guys are saying. And so, I mean, these are all good. I mean, Home Depot is another one that really, see, what is Home Depot doing? So I really focus more on stocks, like 50% that happen and held. Oh, Home Depot is almost all the way up to its all-time high. Did it break it? Ooh. So Home Depot is one that was a really clear example of a 50% level at 280.62. This was from the COVID low to the all-time high that was set in December of 21, and boom, 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 hit it, and wow, we're up at this 420 giggity level, and man, is that thing going to break? But yeah, this has been one that I've been watching for quite a while. I mean, I've been in it for quite a while, but you can go for a Bitcoin IRA, but I'm going to be honest. One of the reasons that I'm been bearish about Bitcoin is not because I don't think it won't go up. Ultimately, because there's limited supply. Hell, you got Michael Saylor out there using leverage to buy up as much as possible. It kind of begs the question: if he wasn't buying up Bitcoin, would it still be at where it is? I don't know. But I really still think that there's a place in everyone's financial portfolio for companies that produce things, and Bitcoin doesn't really create wealth. People may argue that, but it really doesn't make new things for people to buy. It just kind of soaks up wealth. What's my ideas around Ethereum? Well, I think that let's go back here. I've got this marked off right here. This level, volume profile level from the leg up of 2241.22, that seems to be the line in the sand. Let's just clear up this volume profile. The other thing, like I said, I use 50%, so then when 50% aren't really working, I look for volume profile levels. And so basically you have this area right here back in the late part of 2023, which created a lot of buying and selling, and that is the level that Ethereum is holding. That's basically the line in the sand. If it breaks through there, that's going to be pretty bad. I I really don't have that much of an opinion right now on Ethereum because I don't see any like opportunity happening. Uh, that's what I said about opportunity is what I'm looking for. Like Bitcoin breaking out, breaking above, and then creating a nice solid close above its highs. That's where I'm going to start looking for potential longs as a breakout, but not before. As far as Ethereum goes, I just don't have an opinion on it. It's just kind of sitting there. It's a messy chart. It's a messy chart. So ETH BTC, I haven't looked at that in a while. Going down. Yeah, I mean it is kind of losing to Bitcoin. Yeah. Oh, your question was it seems to be dying. Well, for something to go up, you need people to buy it. And I know they implemented that thing where they were burning coins, or every time that there's something was spent, that was supposed to take out supply, but it's just not enough. I don't really know what's going on behind the scenes of crypto. One of the things that I have puts on out to 2026 is MicroStrategy, and those are apparently showing me that I'm wrong, because just the last few weeks, MicroStrategy has just been on an absolute tear. They don't even have earnings coming up. And I looked at this because I argue with a lot of Bitcoin maxis about this kind of stuff. Like they said, oh, MicroStrategy has 500 million a year in revenue. Yeah, but every quarter they lose about $100 million. Their profits are negative. And so, yeah, we understand business enough to know that revenue does not necessarily mean a company is doing well if it's losing money. They have about $4 billion of debt versus 500 million in revenue. Basically, MicroStrategy is a Bitcoin 4x leveraged ETF is essentially what it has become. And it's one of those things where the market can remain irrational longer than you can remain solvent. I got to respect the grift of Michael Saylor that he's able to, pump his stock by diluting his shares and then buying more Bitcoin because he can't borrow anymore for it. But I still think that the best way to be is betting against MicroStrategy. I still think that until I guess all my puts aspire worthless. We'll see. All right. So let's see here. What else do we want to look at today? Let's go ahead and jump into some of these symbols that people want to take a look at for opportunities. Let's start with FTM. I think this is one that you brought up before. FTM USDT. FTM. Phantom. Well, I can see here that it's trying to break up. It's 50% level. Do a weekly there. Yeah, I mean, I think if you can get a good solid break above 80.80, yeah, this thing could be doing a little resurgence here. Yeah. Not for me, but you let me know if this thing actually has something. I think is this the case for a lot of let's take a look at crypto. Is a lot of crypto trying to price in? Yeah, all the crypto is kind of trying to really recover this week, it seems. What I think I've seen a lot of Doge memes. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I can see why people are getting excited. You get a nice big bar, but man, you got a lot of work to get out of the woods here on the crypto. See, Adam. Oof, sorry, Jen. That's not doing too well. Litecoin. Yeah, I mean, my gut tells me you just had a good week in crypto. BTC dominance is going up too quick. What does too quickly mean? Yeah, I mean it. Look, Bitcoin has some really good marketing around it. It really does, and it also has a lot of tailwind from, yes, the ETFs, Michael Saylor doing various financial engineering to buy it up, and it's doing well because you've got a lot of people that are really trying to pump Bitcoin up. A lot of people's financial futures, they have hinged on it. If you go and read some of the Reddits, it's actually pretty funny. I won't bring those up right now. There's a Reddit that I like to frequent. It's called Buttcoin. It's basically a Bitcoin humor Reddit. Um, I want people to be wealthy and successful. It's just that when everyone is so convinced that they are going to win and everyone else is going to be stupid, that's just, that level of arrogance and hubris just never gets rewarded. Could be the first time in history. Could be. But big runs begin when everyone thinks that something is just worthless. That's when the bottom basically comes in. And then they grow on a certain degree of skepticism. I'm paraphrasing that famous quote. But throughout that whole process, it's usually tapered by humility. And there just seems to be no humility. But I could be wrong. The big dogs are on. Yeah, I mean the best thing has always been Bitcoin when it comes to crypto. I remember back in, a decade ago, like 2013, when, the first round of altcoins, shitcoins were coming online. People would say, "Oh, I'm trading these altcoins to then go and turn around and buy Bitcoin." And I was always just like, "Well, why don't you just skip the middleman? Why don't you just do what you want to do?" Like, "Oh, I can make better returns in there." I was like, I don't know. You're just talking about volatility, guys. So, but I'm waiting. I'm still patiently waiting to close my shorts and possibly flip long on a solid break. But I need that first. I need that first. All right, let's start looking at some of these things to catch myself up on these. See, some of these are some gens. SPG, that's Simon Property Group. Those are malls. Really? Malls are doing well? That's surprising. Yeah. A lot of these are just going to be, it's going up. Like I said, it's temperamentally hard for me to go in on breakouts because I'm so focused on trying to find contrarian setups for pullbacks. Is there any symbols you guys have that have been actually doing poorly? Is there anything that has not been doing well over these last few weeks and months this year? Let me make a little note of something. We're coming up on the. I'll talk about that just a second. No, I'll talk about this now. So I make it a point not to talk about politics, but let's talk about the betting markets. Specifically, this right here and the chart that happened. Now, for many years, and this is an open market. I don't think Americans, I believe, are legally forbidden from actually trading these things. But of course, people use VPNs and they use crypto, and things can be done. It's up to you. But for many years, decades even, the betting markets have been a better predictor of polls than the polls, really. And that's been just a common thing. I mean, it predicted Biden's win in 2020. It predicted Trump's win in 2016, which is really kind of the key thing, because back then, if you recall, all the polls were in favor of Hillary winning the U.S. Election, but the betting markets were in favor of Trump. Now, when this started to kind of deviate in just basically at the beginning of October, I thought, okay, well that's interesting. But now this 60-40 split, we learned that I read an article earlier today or yesterday that $30 million from 4 different crypto addresses went into Polymarket to create this. And so now this indicator is not as good an indicator anymore as it was. This is being manipulated, actually, by crypto, by a bunch of crypto whales or whatever. And so, whereas normally you would have looked at, oh, wow, look, this is so much better than the polls, it kind of sucks now that they've gone and ruined it as an indicator because they've manipulated it in this way. And who knows what their intentions are? Is it really just try to convince people that Trump is going to win? Do they actually have opposing bets? Because at some point, you have to understand this is like sports betting. If you go and you buy and you try to buy this, I don't even know. Like basically you would have to spend 60, let's say 60 cents or let's say $60 to win $40 minus the spread or whatever. Whereas with Kamala, you would spend $40 to win $60. So the risk reward of sports betting is anywhere between 0 and 100 is what it falls into, and it's not really a very good winning strategy. I always, when I'm taking trades, I'm always looking to take a 3-to-1 or better. I mean, if it's a breakout, I got some different rules for that, but never, ever, 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 ever do I want to win less than I risk. And then with sports, when it comes to what happens in sports betting, is because people use it as so much like a hobby, is that they don't really think about risk reward. And right now, betting on Trump from a risk reward standpoint is not a good bet. It's not, because you're not going to stand to win more than you can lose. And like I said, it's now become very manipulated, and it's not nearly as good of an indicator. But I say that because in the back of my mind, what I want to say is we're starting to kind of come up on the end game here of the U.S. election, and everyone that you talk to is going to have a different opinion. Let's see how many weeks we have, because I'll probably, as the election gets, I'll save it till November 1st live stream to look at historical patterns of the presidential elections. But it depends on who you ask. If you ask some people, they're going to say, "Oh, the market's going to crash if my person does or does not win," or "the markets are going to go up if my person does or does not win." A little spoiler on what I'm going to reveal to you guys, going back and looking at actual historical patterns. The stock market will go up no matter what. That's a spoiler. That's a full-on spoiler. But we'll actually look at the historical patterns when it becomes more germane to the time. So no matter what your opinion is about what the market will happen, historically speaking, stocks go up. And so I guess it is good that I'm saying this now to people that may be having some trepidation, because I'd have talked to a lot of people like, "Oh no, I got to sell all my stocks because reasons," and just don't. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Believe it or not, a lot of people that have a lot of money, they know that no matter who is in charge, wealthy people end up really running politics. We know this. We hear this all the time. When a podcaster talks about how bad the donor class is, they donate to both parties. It doesn't really matter. It does not really matter. It does not really matter. So, all right. So let's look at some of the symbols here now that we're in the last half of things. Again, if you guys have symbols to look at, we'll take a look at it. Oh, NVIDIA. Do I get to short NVIDIA yet? Nope. I've been waiting. I'm a contrarian, guys, if you haven't heard me say already. And so when I look at everything going up, I want to go short. But if there's one thing that I've definitely been able to iron out of my my habits, is just not throwing random puts on things. And I think a lot of people, if you go on Wall Street Bets, there's a lot of loss porn out there for people that have been trying to throw puts at NVIDIA. There's been many a live stream. There's been many an instance on my Discord where I've been like, I'm itching for it, but I have not yet taken a sustained bearish bet on NVIDIA. I've seen so many bearish articles or bearish comparisons to NVIDIA. Let's see if I can find it, about how, let me see if I can find it on Twitter real quick. Something like an NVIDIA GDP comparison. I think I'm going to be able to find. Yeah, so this right here. So someone has made this point right here that where Nvidia has a market cap that's 11%, 11.7% of total U.S. GDP, and this compares it to Cisco, which was of course the big hardware manufacturer of the dot-com bubble. I don't like these comparisons because they don't really matter. It doesn't really matter what happened in 2000. Psychologically, it kind of does, but it's not really necessarily a thing that's going to help you make money trading or investing. I own Nvidia, but I own it from way back, like 2020 and before. So I am just kind of sitting in it. But that doesn't mean I don't want to play a little bit of contrarian. But that doesn't mean I'm just doing it for any reason. And so far, Nvidia, there ain't no reason yet. We are though, as I noted, coming up to, so this is a daily chart. So yesterday, Thursday, it came up and pinged the all-time high on Nvidia. So now we are in the test zone. We're in the test zone for the all-time high. Is it going to be a hit? I'm not going to short just the high. I like to look for false breakouts. And what that would entail is coming up and then closing back inside it. If I recall correctly, there was an instance of that with Lockheed Martin. Of course, now it's recovered from that, but let's just use that as kind of an example. So this is where you want to look for a potential short in something when it comes up to an all-time high. This is a weekly chart of Lockheed Martin. This is back in April 2023. So this was one where comes up 498.95 and pings it intra-week, and you have a nice little wick that goes above it. This is the kind of stuff that I want to look for if I'm looking for something to go short. And so that is a really, really good, powerful reversal signal. And so now that we're coming up to these all-time highs, these former all-time highs. Earlier I looked at Home Depot. That was another one that said all-time high. What else we got going on? Anything else you guys can think of? Eli Lilly. This is, I have to say, this is one of my favorite stocks to own. You know, guys, just in general, like my friend told me that I'm like an old uncle that tries to counsel you on, you know, boomer stuff, wealth preservation. So Nvidia is a stock that I own. LLY is the stock that I own. And I've owned these things for years and years and years. And I love things like this that don't give you any problems at all. These are what you want to own. You only want to own winners. I know that sounds like a dumb thing to say, but I think a lot of people get too caught up trying to chase some YOLO stuff, you know, something that's going to go, you know, 5x, 10x in a short amount of time because they think they need to get there quickly. But just, you know, cutting things, like a couple weeks ago, I made a big deal about how I was in Walgreens. Let's see, what's Walgreens symbol? FC? No, it's Wells Fargo. BA. Walgreens Boots Alliance. There we go. Oh, man. So I bought into it. I think I took it off, but either way, I'm out of Walgreens. And this is one where I tried to buy it at the beginning of the year this year. Where was it? It was it was early. Wait, that's not it. Why? Oh, because I got the time thing on. Sorry. Ugh, even worse. Yeah, so I picked this up at the beginning of the year, and then when it broke below 20, I cut it. And I didn't look, well, I look back now as kind of an educational thing for you guys' sake. But, you know, these are things you don't want to own. Bag holding. Bag holding is what really kills you, because where are we now if we weren't a bag holder? We're down half, okay? Whereas, you know, things like LLY, so LLY is back up here. Oh, this was another buy, actually, from another 50% level from earlier in August. And then, like I said, I want to just sit here and buy stocks at their 50% levels. Now looking at it, this is another example of some potential false breakouts. I got kind of pissed off at the media when it comes to LLY, because they started talking about they're going to do some kind of a drug or something like that that's going to blow them up. And I don't like good news about stocks that I want them to just silently keep going up. Silent. I don't want them to get too overhyped. Costco is another one where it's just another stock that it just wins. It just wins. It just wins. It just wins. And if you go to Costco, you'll see why. You can't get out of there without spending hundreds of dollars, and there's thousands of people there. So yeah. Anyway, all right, let's go through the list. Let's go through the list before we take too long ranting about wins. Everything's just going up. It's just so boring. It's just so boring, so boring, so boring. SoFi is one that I've had multiple friends that have been bragging about their SoFi doing very well. That in itself doesn't mean that it's going to be a problem, but ooh, you've got earnings coming up 10/29. You got a big run up before earnings. Let's see what the implied volatility is doing with SoFi. You got to look at implied volatility in Thinkorswim. That's where I have this. It's elevated. It's not super high, but this thing's probably going to go up as it goes up some more. Yeah, if you've got some shorter term calls on SoFi, it's getting to be a good time to kind of make some money on those. So, all right. Let's see. BITO. Is that our that's the ProShares Bitcoin ETF. Why is that not looking like Bitcoin itself? Is this why is BITO, Vlad? I don't understand why it's not looking like I don't have my thing on. That's weird. Why does it not look like Bitcoin? There must be some sort of built-in cost, like a fee, that's eating away at it. That's kind of weird. Let's see. Back to Jen's. ABT, Abbott Laboratories. Again, looks like it's coming up to a high. Kind of a messy chart. Don't really have an opinion. It's going up. Let's see. Hood. I've heard a lot of talk about Hood. Robinhood, they're doing pretty well. Let's go to a weekly. It's coming up. It's coming up. The breakout Ichimoku has been going on for quite some time. It's in a bullish trend. What can I say? I'm not a fan of Robinhood because they don't really have the charting and the trading utilities that I want. They just don't really stand out as a brokerage to me. But I think probably it almost could be an acquisition thing because you've got places like Schwab, which has bought up everything, including TD Ameritrade, Thinkorswim, that platform that I love so much. All these financial companies have a lot of money to buy out others, and they could just buy Robinhood for their user base. It's entirely possible. So, Disney. Is Disney coming back? It's slowly making recoveries. It went into the valley of risk right here, but I think that still 101 is what it needs to conquer to get back up. I do own Disney. Actually, my nieces and nephews own it in their little portfolios. They're like 5 years old and 3 years old. Made sense. INTC. Is it time to buy Intel yet, or did I miss it? Oh, I have been ridiculously lazy, i.e. patient, with Intel, and I've got an alert at 21.59 right there, that 50% level. Obviously, this week it got close on Wednesday, but did not trigger. I still want to see what it does. It's just not. It's not showing very much. I've been waiting very, very patiently, very, very patiently, maybe even to try to get some kind of like a spike set up. Like one of the things I like a 30-minute spike. Didn't quite happen back at the beginning of October here on October 3rd, but very, very patient with Intel. I want to get it at a multi-decade low, but given that it's a 20-year low, I think I can wait a certain number of weeks. I think I can give it that much time to get a setup that I'm confident in. So I still have not bought Intel yet. I'm still waiting to pick it up here. It's not bad. It bottomed out. It's showing some signs of strength, but I'm not too worried about missing it. I'm not too worried about it. I'm still waiting. Okay, so Tesla. You know, it's amazing that Elon can release promos about taxis, robo taxis, and literal androids, and the stock dropped 9% on that day, and that's not even earnings. There's just a lot of anti-Elon sentiment out there, and I've been saying for months and months that's been affecting his brand, which is Tesla. There's a lot of people that are really angry about Tesla, don't want to buy a Tesla because of politics, and I think that that's kind of it's a mistake for Elon to have done that, but I think that he's doing what he feels like he needs to do to satisfy his whatever he believes is true and correct. And so, still have it. I still own it from back in the 180s, so not really in danger yet. 160s actually, 160s, 180s, and so yeah, it's just kind of sitting, hanging out there. We'll see what earnings brings. I think that probably this hit's already kind of come into earnings, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Coca-Cola, I think I looked at that. Who would have thought that sugar water is doing well? I read something about Celsius. Speaking of sugar water, Celsius. That's another big win. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. So this is definitely something that has fallen into the value of risk. So this was a huge, oh, look at that classic double top right there. Yeah. Double top with a lower high. I'm not in this short, but man, this is let's see, is this hanging out at a volume profile level here? Is this a good place for this? Oh. Interesting. Interesting. That might be worth a look. That might be worth. They got earnings coming up, so I can't really take any options on it yet. But I'm gonna make a note of that for next week. That could be something interesting there with Celsius, actually. Let's see. Let me go back and check chat real quick. All right. Hey, what's up, Zishan? Oh, we got some breakouts for me. Okay. Let me look at that just a second. Let me make sure that we've got a Berkshire. Last one here. Berkshire Hathaway. Let's look at the big one. Is that the big boy? No, that's the little one. I don't know what that big spike was. Warren, you know, it's the funniest quote that I read in, I think, 2022 or maybe even 2023 was, it was like a magazine that said, earlier we asked the question, who will be the next Warren Buffett? Turns out it was Warren Buffett. He did better than just about everybody else after the pandemic and all the ensuing turmoil of 2022. HELE, I think that's one of your favorites, right? Helen of Troy. I think I probably looked at this. It really just needs to get back above that 87 or 83. Hasn't quite broken out on the daily Ichimoku yet, so you don't really have a bullish trend quite yet on HELE. Zishan. Let's see here. Yeah, WBA is closing 1,200 stores. That sucks. Hood is getting futures and more advanced charting soon. Well, more advanced charting is okay, but can I do all the stuff I can do on TradingView and Thinkorswim? That's the question for me. But again, I am just a niche case because I look at daily and weekly charts, whereas most Robinhood people, if I can throw some shade, they're more concerned about weekly options, so they don't really care. SMCI, let's take a look at that. Yep, I know my friends have been doing pretty well about that. Super Micro. Where are all these gains that you guys are talking about all the day about SMCI? It doesn't really seem to be going up that much. Is it? Hold on. Is it the implied volatility of the options have been? You had to. I guess the implied you had a 10-to-1 split, and I guess that the implied volatility has been rising up into earnings. And it's been going up a little bit, so that's what's giving you guys such a big headwind, huh? Everybody's all about SMCI, but it's just kind of a dangerous value of risk situation. But I guess I'm being a little too risk averse there. All right, you bought it for the split, yeah. Okay. All right. Let's see. What do you got for me, Zishan? Let's look at yours. HUBB. Breakouts for us. As I was saying in the beginning, Zishan, I mean, dude, everything has just been going up. Like, that's a good solid breakout there last week. So that's what you want to see on Bitcoin, guys. Kind of circle it back to the topic. You want to see a good, solid weekly breakout, and then you're good to go. Hub looks great. GWW, that's Owens Corning, or no, it's WW Ranger. I'm thinking something else. Another good, solid weekly breakout. Man, I wish I could be a breakout trader. I really wish I could. This, Eaton, okay. These guys make battery backups, I believe, right? This is a better case because now we're able to catch this a little bit. This is a good one to note, actually, to see if it closes above or if it does a false breakout, maybe pull back to hold 349.19. I like that one. I like that one as an opportunity. Dover, perhaps. Ooh, this is a little messier. It is technically breaking out, but a little messier. So far of the two, and that's just going up. This breakout is a good learning example because you can see where you had, the initial breakout back here. Is that? Oh, okay, that's even more of a longer term. Yeah. So yeah, so that was a good breakout there. Came up, hold it, break it, good. These are weeklies, by the way, so this has been going on for a while. But yeah, looks good. I like the Eaton the best for like a near term opportunity. So, all right, you're gonna buy Berkshire put leaps. Why are you gonna bet on Warren Buffett going down? Why are you gonna bet against Warren Buffett? He is, but I imagine he's got people that know what they're doing working for him. Don't you think? Don't you think even if he goes, he's probably thought, I'm in my 90s. I probably need to have some kind of transition plan. Don't you think? So, all right. Well, let's bring it back. So the plan that I've got for myself when it comes to Bitcoin, kind of circling back, is we're basically at a decision point here and now. This is the prior all-time high, 68,999. Just missed it by a few dollars. And if not, it's at the top of the wedge. You've also got a volume profile, the last sort of significant volume profile level right there. We're all right here. And so if you break above this point, now you're in sort of this point where gravity. Let's just walk through what's going to happen, okay? So these are the possible scenarios for Bitcoin. This is going to be the kind of the wrap up here, all right? So what happens or what can happen is at this point right here, you hold, okay? And at that point, we kind of resume the whatever it's going to do consolidation-wise. There's only really two things that are going to happen here. It's going to go up or go down, but it's going to go up in pretty predictable ways. So it's going to either resume the consolidation to that point. That would be the bear case. And at that point, this is where the inflection point is going to be. Otherwise, if you can get a solid close inside this area right here, let me denote this with like a little rectangle. So let's say that we can get a background, make that green there. Okay, yeah. Let's say that we get a bar to close up inside this area right here. Well, then you kind of have what I call the force of inverse gravity that's going to just pull up price to then retest this actual all-time high. And you can almost be guaranteed if you close above this level this weekend or into next week, you're going to be pulled up to test that all-time high proper. And so really there's some good short-term trading from a close above here to here. It's a small area, but that's virtually guaranteed. At which point, then you're going to have to see at what this bar that actually closes to break it does. That's what's going to be very important to see. Now, there's a good chance that if it happens, you're going to see a big old jumping in, FOMOing in. And that's what you kind of want to see for either direction. You want to see if it's going to then sustain that FOMO, or if you're going to have another situation like you've had back, which really kind of sealed the deal for this consolidation. Let me draw a little line here. Hang on, little. And you're going to have possibly, it won't let me do that. But you're going to have it where it comes up and then you have it come down as a false breakout. If that happens, that is then a bearish signal. And so those are really the kind of chain of possible events that are going to come from this level right here. It's either going to hold, it's going to break it, and then retesting the level at 73,757 is virtually guaranteed. Then you then fight that level to see if it can actually close above it, or if it closes back inside of it. If it closes above it on the weekly next week, then, or the week after, then you have a good bullish scenario. If it closes back inside of it, watch out, because that is yet another false breakout. And so definitely we've had a lot of boringness over the last few weeks and months, but now things are starting to get actually very interesting for Bitcoin to see what happens. But that's what I'm looking for going into this weekend and next week. So, all right. Any last questions before we sign off? Meme coin Pew. Maybe. Like I said, if you're playing with meme coins, that's fine, but try to buy some companies that make stuff. Try to buy some stuff for the future. So that's my recommendation as your old crotchety uncle. Fox F tested the weekly TS. Fox Factory. It's a possibility. Are we at a level here? Probably. Yeah. That could be a possible reversal. Yeah, I like it. Earnings coming up, though, so watch out for that. All right, guys. Thank you for spending this Friday afternoon with me. I want you guys to trade wisely and have a good weekend. I do believe I will be back next Friday to meet with you guys. Thanks. And every Friday I do this. I try to, unless I have any prior obligations at 4 p.m. Eastern. Make sure that you like it so that I can get this message and teaching out to people. So have a good weekend. See you later, guys.